with the news in Major League Soccer. Yeah.
Record was broken last night.
Exactly, because the Cavan Sullivan, the midfielder for
has he officially signed with City?
It's like it's like a gentleman's agreement. I think.
Okay.
Basically, he signed with the Philadelphia Union, and
they gave him a check but said, "Don't cash that yet."
there's a bigger one coming.
Yeah.
But no, Cavan Sullivan of the Philadelphia Union becomes the youngest player to ever make his pro debut, and not just in Major League Soccer, but in North American sports history.
Yeah.
So, the player before that, we all remember, Freddy Adu. For DC United.
Well, had something nice to say. Did you see his tweet?
I did. He said, congratulations on breaking the record.
It's a difficult record to break, but he did it. Best of luck, my man, something like that.
Yeah. We got it. We're reporting the quote exactly.
It's pretty sweet. It was kind of sweet, though. It was. I don't know that I would have that much. Hubris is the term.
Okay, sure.
You know what I mean? I'd be like, wow. Could wait a couple more days, huh?
Have I been replaced?
You want to take everything away from me?
It was the only thing I had.
Damn. My mom is still alive. She could see this.
How are you? Why are you ruining my life?
Why must everyone else have so many things?
It's like those guys, men and women that go to like, when you go to you've never been to a comic book convention.
Certainly have not.
But when you go,
have you?
I have been to one. Yeah,
was that
only one? Yeah. Okay,
that's good. Hey, test the waters.
Okay, I also kissed a girl once.
Wow.
So I mean, don't mean to brag, but
that's how you have a baby.
But what ends up happening is like there's like little booths or tables.
I've seen this like wrestlers whole sign,
and it's one of those things where respectfully, I didn't know you were still alive, sir.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Good for you.
I'm just glad you're here. And Kay, can you do the voice? Yeah. You have a great voice. You do the voice from that cartoon.
You know how I know this? Because our friend Lucy Pohl, who does all the video game voices.
Yes, she does Overwatch. One of our friends is one of the characters in Overwatch. Yeah.
So she does all these things, and people show up and be like, "That's you?"
Yeah.
Do the voice.
Yeah. Hey, dance for me.
Yeah. And then she does the voice, and like, all right, can I get a picture?
Yeah. It's legit.
Yeah.
But that's kind of, it's like, that's the thing sort of taken from Freddy Adu. Like, now he has the booth, and it's like, well, what is he going to say at the booth? It's like, oh, you're no longer the youngest one, so he has to find a new thing. That's all I'm saying.
You got to get a different booth.
you got to find all the. But no, this is
you can't be the second youngest ever. You know what I mean? That doesn't.
It's an exciting thing because even during the game, so Philadelphia Union finally get out of their losing streak, which was brutal. They were
6 out of 7 losses, and the other one was a draw.
So they hadn't won in like 9 or 10 games.
Since May something.
Yeah, everybody's already been concerned about what is the team going to look like? Is Jim Curtin going to keep his job? And then they win this game 5-1, and then one of the goal scorers, Quinn Sullivan, Cavan's older brother, scores in this game, and they get to celebrate together.
The whole Sullivan family.
Was
the beef is Sullivan versus Aronson, because they're making a bunch of pro Philadelphia Union players, and now the Sullivan's coming up.
Yeah, this is like just a competition between like the Rothschilds and the
Vanderbilts.
And the Vanderbilts. You know what I mean? They're trying to take over.
But instead of controlling, the trains, they control youth soccer.
So it's and obviously it's an exciting thing. I wonder
what's your immediate reaction, because I know like we could see one of the responses to this. It says, that is too young. Burnout will happen when he's real young.
Right.
Obviously not a well thought out comment, which I respect, because that's how I tend to reply.
This happened with when we were talking about Melanie Barcenas of the San Diego Wave, and who started playing at 16, or I believe, or 15 or 16.
Might have been 15.
Yeah. So you sort of expect this, but if this was like if this was a regular thing and it was just happening every other week.
The team was all 14-year-olds.
All 14-year-olds. It's
I'd be like, don't do this.
14-year-olds with sooty hands, and it's like, hey, should we look into this a little bit?
What do you guys do before? Have chimney sweep outfits.
Yeah, if it was that kind of that if it was that consistent, I would be a little bit more concerned. But these things happen once.
Yeah.
Every 2-3 years. I mean, I'm surprised it's honestly happening to a player like Cavan Sullivan, just a male player, because we've heard these stories. Wayne Rooney started when he was I think 15 or 16.
He didn't look it, but
he didn't look it. Yeah.
Also, Cavan kind of looks older. I mean, that could look like a 22-year-old.
Yeah. I wish I had this kid's like jawline.
Yeah,
I'm like, why? Like, why are you so much more manly than me?
I guarantee you, he has more chest and back hair than you do. You are like a baby dolphin.
Without a doubt. Yeah.
So you're very aerodynamic in the water.
So this is a look. Obviously, the kid is
extremely talented.
The scouts are all saying. I mean, he's going to Man City.
Yeah, man. It's not official.
When he turns 18,
it's official.
Yeah. So
here's what I'll say, and I think this is the difficult part of the game in sort of as we develop in this country. It feels like internationally, Europe is getting younger and younger. I look at Lamine Yamal. Look at Nico Williams is young. You look at Jude Bellingham is young. All these players, like these big superstars, are starting very early. The peak is coming faster, so we're gonna have to catch up. But one of the things that I love about this is I was listening to a British podcast. They weren't talking about this, but they were talking about the superstars in Europe. And the term they use for when you start a player slowly, because Cavan is slowly getting integrated into the first team very slowly. They're being a lot more thoughtful with it than they were in Freddy Adu's time, which was like throw him into the spotlight.
Freddy Adu was like, oh, this is the next Pele. Get him. You're playing 90 minutes plus extra time.
He shows up, suddenly he's got a Sierra Mist in one hand, JoJo's hand in the other hand. It's this is very different. They're being a lot more thoughtful, and we understand now how to do this.
We all saw what happened to Freddy Adu.
We saw what the negative could be.
Yeah.
But you know how the English term that's slowly getting someone into it? They say I don't know if they bleed them in or they blood them in. I'm like, bro, you gotta come up with a different term.
What cult is this?
I was just like, what y'all doing to Bellingham?
Wow. Okay. Well, I mean, look, there's always a lot of Englishisms that make us all uncomfortable.
Yeah, some of that stuff is real old timey, man.
Exactly. That's why I will never ask for a cigarette in England.
Thank God we don't smoke.
But congrats to him. I mean, look, as far as any concerns about him. I mean, I don't. I think, especially given that his older brother is already on the team, and who's gonna protect you? Who's gonna protect you more than your older brother? Like, it's such a healthier environment than like whatever Freddy Adu was in, and nobody's calling him the next Messi or anything like that.
In fact, that's one of the wildest parts about this, is that they haven't raised the level of expectation for this kid at all. People are just excited to see him.
Exactly. They're just like, he's good, and he deserves an opportunity. And the saying is, if you're good enough, you're old enough to play. And look, he came in into, I think, like the 85th minute or something like that. It was exciting.
I think it took one shot.
Yeah, he took one shot. So just happy for him. And we know Jim Curtin personally, and as far as looking at or thinking of the right environment for a young player, and just like being around a leader and just like a good person, I'm like,
Jim Curtin, pick a better.
Exactly. Jim Curtin, exactly that.
He's an outstanding guy. And also he's had to help develop a lot of youth players.
Yeah. And there's a little bit of like, let's get him in a good environment. He'll improve more and more. And like Sugarman and the rest of they're like, okay, we're about to about to flip this kid.
Yeah, we're gonna wrap him in bubble wrap real quick.
So it's good business, and I think it's good for his career as an individual. So
MLS said they wanted to be a selling league. Now we're a developing league, which is crazy. We're developing high levels of talent.
Exactly. So they're in a good spot. All right. So some other MLS news.
If you're from Miami, close your eyes.
Lionel Messi. I talked